So despite the nearly 1.8 million tests that you say the United States has done, the Inspector General for the Department of Health and Human Services released a report today, a survey of more than 300 hospitals across the country. And the number one complaint from those hospitals were severe shortages of testing supplies and a really long wait time. I mean, a week or longer.
And did I hear the word Inspector General? Really? It's wrong. And they'll talk to you about it. It's wrong.
But this is your own government.
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General.
No, what's his name?
I don't know his name off the top of my head.
Find me his name. Let me know, okay? If you find me his name, I'd appreciate it.
But, sir, these are hospitals.
All I can tell you is this:
sir,
we put up on the board. You're going to ask the Admiral, but we are doing.
Who say that they're waiting a week or longer to get their test results. Why?
But we've done more testing and had more results than any country anywhere in the world. They're doing an incredible job. Now they're all calling us. They want our testing. What are we doing? How do you do the 5-minute test? How do you do the 15-minute test? So give me the name of the Inspector General. Could politics be entered into that?
Did serve in the previous administration.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Oh, I see. You didn't tell me that, John. You didn't tell me that. Did serve in the previous administration. You mean the Obama administration. Thank you for telling me that. See, there's a typical fake news deal.
You asked me when she was appointed. I told you when she was appointed.
You're a third-rate reporter, and what you just said is a disgrace, okay? You asked me, you said, sir, just got appointed. Take a look at what you said now. I said, when did this person, how long in government? Well, it was appointed in the Obama administration. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much. You will never make it. Go ahead, please.
This is Trump claiming that a report from his own administration stating that hospitals don't have adequate testing and supplies is wrong, before going on to accuse the Health and Human Services Inspector General of being involved in a political plot against him. Even the people sitting at home wearing tinfoil hats have to look at this guy and think he's just a tad paranoid. Now, the report that Trump is claiming is flat out wrong was carried out by his own Department of Health and Human Services. It's, quote, the first objective, independent, national look at how hospitals are addressing the COVID-19 response, wherein 323 hospitals from 46 states participated in compiling a comprehensive report that showed that despite Trump's rosy picture painting, there were actually, quote, severe shortages of testing supplies and extended waits for test results, limiting hospitals' ability to monitor the health of patients and staff. The hospitals also noted that they were still falling short of coronavirus testing demands because they either lacked complete tests or the subsidiary parts to finish tests. But despite these findings, because they came from the Inspector General, a position that provides oversight, clearly they're part of the deep state cabal put in place to take down Trump and are not to be trusted. And so despite the fact that the report was a compilation of responses from actual Americans on the front lines fighting the virus, because Trump has decreed that it's wrong, then it must be wrong. To be clear, regarding the apparent controversy surrounding this particular Inspector General, Christy Grimm, yes, she served in Obama's administration, but in a different role. From 2014 to 2019, Grimm was the Chief of Staff and Deputy Inspector General for the immediate office. It wasn't until January of 2020 that Donald Trump appointed her the Principal Deputy Inspector General of the Department of Health and Human Services. It was literally 3 years into Trump's term. So while it's convenient that Trump thinks anyone who worked in the United States government at the same time that Obama is some plant sent in by George Soros to sink his presidency, the fact is that it was literally him who put Christy Grimm in her current role. Now, this whole vendetta against IGs comes only days after Trump fired the Intelligence Community Inspector General, Michael Atkinson, whom he also appointed for committing the cardinal sin of doing his job and passing an urgent complaint he'd received from an intelligence official involving Trump's communications with Ukraine to Congress. A complaint, mind you, that led to Trump's bipartisan impeachment. And so now, because he's hell-bent on sticking with this story that, like everything else, his own extortion scheme against Joe Biden was all just a ploy against him, suddenly all inspectors general are bad. Of course, the reason he's claiming the HHS IG report is wrong isn't because it's wrong, it's not, but because it goes against his talking points. Trump's not actually concerned with what's happening in America, he just wants to paint a rosy picture for his own PR, so that people who don't see the videos and photos online, people who don't have family members in healthcare like myself, the people who don't read the data on a daily basis, can be gaslit into thinking that Trump might be doing a decent job, when in reality, the report report itself is proof that hospitals aren't getting what they need. And that's the part that should scare you. He's not concerned about making sure our healthcare workers on the front lines against the virus are safe. He's concerned about selling the rest of the country the BS story that they are. That's his priority. Not their lives, but his story. And of course, Trump uses that opportunity to attack ABC's John Carl for pointing out that Grimm also worked in the White House prior to him taking office, saying, quote, "You'll never make it." John Carl has covered the White House, Capitol Hill, the Pentagon, and the State Department, and has reported from more than 30 countries. He's been ABC's chief White House correspondent for nearly a decade. He got Mick Mulvaney to admit at the lectern that Trump's call with Ukraine was indeed a quid pro quo. He is the leader of the White House Correspondents Association. I think he's made it. And look, to be perfectly honest, Trump's temper tantrum shouldn't be dignified with a fact check, but because his entire strategy is to try and will his lies into reality by virtue of repeating them over and over and over, our job has to be to push back. Because when it's the word of our healthcare workers and inspectors general and reporters and the actual data versus that of Donald Trump, suddenly it becomes obvious which side is telling the truth.